All right, one factor that could play into Trump's decision, which of the VP candidates has the best chance of winning over the never Trump crowd? Guy Benson is the political editor at townhall.com and a Fox News contributor. Guy, great to see you today. All right, let's start with the man who is, for all we can understand, at the top of the list right now, Mike Pence. What doesn't he bring to the ticket?
Well, if it's going to be him, Shannon, this looks, at least on paper to me, like a do no harm selection by Donald Trump. Mike Pence is known to have a very steady, low-key demeanor, which is, of course, a contrast with the man at the top of the ticket. He has lots of experience. He was a conservative member of the House here in Washington. He was part of GOP leadership on Capitol Hill. Now he's gone back to Indiana, where he's the chief executive, of course. So he has a lot of that governing experience that Trump did say that he was looking for. It's not a flashy pick if it's going to be Pence, but he's viewed by and large as a full-spectrum conservative by the right, and is mostly relatively well-liked within the party, although I think that we've seen a bit of his reputation take a hit during his term as governor, particularly over alienating a lot of different people on different sides of that religious freedom fight, which is why I think his approval rating in the Hoosier state has come down significantly since the beginning of his term.
Yeah, and what about that? Because obviously, there are many people who say a Pence pick would be Trump trying to really pull in evangelicals, social conservatives, those who trust Pence maybe be more than they do Trump on some of these issues. But the way that religious freedom bill played out last year has now some top religious leaders saying they don't want Pence to be the pick because they feel like when the rubber met the road, they feel like he folded on that. And like you said, people on all sides of that debate ended up being upset with the governor.
Right, because you had people who were against the bill who thought it was this hateful, bigoted piece of legislation, and in some cases, in my opinion, twisted what the bill actually said. They weren't happy because he signed it to begin with, and then the retreat really angered social conservatives who had initially cheered Pence drawing a line in the sand and then backing away from it. One point I will make, though, Shannon, this strikes me as well, not hard to forget, Mike Pence was a Ted Cruz endorser ahead of that crucial primary that effectively ended the race. And so knowing Donald Trump's sort of the way he goes about his business, I think it was probably a significant step in his mind to pick someone, again, if it's Pence, to pick someone that has not been in his corner all along. This could be a conscious attempt by Donald Trump and his team to try to unify the party by picking someone who publicly backed an erstwhile rival.
All right, Guy, I want to make sure that we get through your list of who you think would have been really helpful on the ticket. We still don't have a definitive decision, but who would you speculate could be a big plus on that ticket?
Well, it might be moot at this point. I think that Pence, and before we got all these reports about Pence, I had been chatting with some of your producers. I thought Pence was sort of a wash, not someone who was going to add a ton or detract a ton from the ticket. I thought that someone who wouldn't really help would be Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey, who kind of lacks a constituency at this point, both within the party and more broadly nationally. And I have to say, I read Rich Lowry's column yesterday about how Newt may have been the best choice for Trump of the remaining figures in that orbit. And I thought that Rich made a bunch of very compelling points. So I'll point this one other thing out, Shannon. When I'm coming to that convention in Cleveland, there are a few speeches that I'm excited to see. Newt's is one of them. Whether you like the guy or not, he's going to give a hell of a speech. I also think the Trump campaign would be very wise to showcase Ivanka, Trump's daughter. I think she is elegant and well-spoken and likable, one of his most effective surrogates. And then with these reports that Tim Tebow is going to be there, even Tim Tebow's haters secretly like Tim Tebow, because, I mean, how can you really hate that guy? He's so earnest and nice. So it'll be quite a show in Cleveland.
Listen, I'm a Florida State Seminole, and Tebow is one of the Gators that I actually have a lot of affection for. He's done a lot of good things. Well, it's close. There are a few others, but listen, he's done good things out in the world, and he does seem to be a very earnest guy. It'll be interesting. I'm sure he'll get a lot of attention in Cleveland. All right,
No doubt.
Guy, thank you very much. Great to see you.
Thank you, Shannon.